up, you guys, and welcome back. Hi. Hello. Thank you for coming back again. I don't know why you keep coming back, but thank you. Hi. If you're new here, let's introduce ourselves. I'll start. My name is Chase. I'm very happy you found this channel. I don't know how you did or how you found this video, but hey, I'm glad you stumbled on it. Hi. I'm a hot mess. If you couldn't tell from this minute, I'm a hot mess. So subscribe if you like hot messes. If you are a hot mess, click that red button and you join the Hot Mess Express, which means, and that's what it means. You join it. I don't know. There you go. Yeah, that's it. That's the introduction. Something feels weird. I don't know what it is, but something is off, and I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. It's not summer anymore, girl. It's pumpkin spice season. It's September. I gotta get rid of this stuff. Just 1 second. Let me get rid of it. Let me just... There. That is so much better. It's Halloween. It's spooky season. Kind of. Not yet. For me, spooky season is like October. And then like September is like pumpkin spice season. And then spooky season is October. But look, isn't that better? Halloween. The screensaver's even Halloween. It's called Wizard's Ambiance. It's cute. You can't really see my Halloween village, but anyway. It's cute. Was that cheesy? It was kind of cheesy, wasn't it? Okay, before we even get into the video, I'm going to go ahead and do the album of the week. If you didn't see last video, last week's album was Halsey's Manic. That is Halsey's best album, in my opinion. This week we're doing a genre that is way different from any other albums that we did. This week, while filming this video, I am going to be listening to Little Big Town's Nightfall, which was released sometime this year. I don't know when, but it was sometime this year. I'll be listening to that. If you like country or you like Little Big Town, go ahead and listen to it with me this week. Now let's jump into the video, shall we? So last week, what did we talk about? Last week we finished off the Spooky Saturdays in Mansfield edition with probably the most haunted place in Mansfield, the Ohio State Reformatory. Yes, ma'am. We talked about the very long, dark history of that place, because there is a lot of history. I didn't touch on all of it, because you really can't. I mean, the video was, I think it was like 30 minutes long, and I touched on not even half of the things that happened there when it was still a prison. And then we talked about what happened after it was a prison and how the building stayed open and everything. And then, of course, we talked about the haunting because that's what we are here for. This is Spooky Saturday. So if you want to go check out that video, I will leave it linked for you guys down below, like I always do, along with a playlist to all the Spooky Saturdays that we have made so far. There's a playlist, you can go binge it. I'll leave a link down below. There's 8 of them so far. So you can watch the entire Mansfield edition of Spooky Saturdays, if your heart so desires. So today, what are we talking about? Last week I said we were talking about something a little bit different, so I hope you guys are okay with that. I kind of left you guys on a little cliffhanger last week. We are not talking about ghosts this week, which I hope you guys are okay with. That's all we've talked about for the last 8 videos. But I wanted to kind of switch it up and shake it up for the month of September and the month of October. For spooky season, we're doing something a little bit different. So for the next 4 videos, I want to talk about something other than ghosts. If I'm being honest, I love researching that stuff. I love talking about that stuff. I love looking it up. But doing that every single week and researching a place that's haunted with normally a dark past where there's been a murder or 2, and then talking about the ghost and getting on and talking about it and then editing the video late at night, it's kind of freaky. I'm not gonna lie. Like this stuff really freaks me out. I love talking about it. I love doing it, but it also really freaks me out. So to do that every single week started to kind of freak me out. How many times can I say freak me out in this video? It was kind of scary to keep doing that over and over again. And again, I don't know if you watching this, if you believe in the paranormal or not. I don't know. I mean, if you don't, I still hope you would watch my videos and enjoy them just to get a laugh and be like, oh, okay, sure. But ever since I started doing these videos, there's been more things happening in my house. I plan on talking about it at some point, but there's just been a few more things happening that weren't happening before filming these videos, and I'm talking like paranormal wise. So I just kind of wanted to take a break. I just wanted to pause and take a break from the paranormal for a little bit. It's not going to be forever. This is literally Spooky Saturdays is about talking about the paranormal and ghosts mostly. But when you say the paranormal, it's not just ghosts that you're talking about. There are other things in the paranormal. The biggest one that people probably know about are aliens, which we're not going to be talking about today, so I'm sorry. But there are a lot of things that come with the paranormal. It's not just ghosts. So, for the next 4 videos, we will be talking about cryptoids. I don't know if you know what cryptoids are. Maybe you know about cryptozoology. Things like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster, those things, those are cryptoids. They're monsters. And I thought it would be interesting if we just talked about a few of them. So I have 4. We're gonna do 4 videos. I've picked out 4, and I'm really excited. I have to say, I did this research at like 1 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning last night. But it didn't really freak me out. It's just really interesting. So I hope that you're okay with that we're going to take a break from the paranormal and talk about something a little bit different. I am very excited to get into this new kind of style of videos and talk about something other than ghosts that hopefully won't freak me out as much as the ghosts have. But if you're not into cryptozoology and you don't really want to hear about monsters and creatures that go bump in the night, that is totally fine. These next few videos probably won't be for you. Like I said, the next 4 weeks we're going to be doing this. I think it's going to last us the rest of September. So if you don't like that, then come back in October, because then we will be going back to the ghost and the paranormal. But for this month, I just thought it'd be fun to do something different. So what are we talking about this week? Which monster, creature, cryptoid are we talking about? There's a lot of them. There was a lot to choose from. I really didn't know where to start. I was like, should we do a really popular one like Bigfoot, and should we start on that note, or should I do a lesser known one? So I decided to do one that is here in my home state of Ohio. I thought it was just kind of fitting since my last 8 videos were all based in Ohio and they were all in the area that I live. I thought it'd be fitting to start with a monster that is said to live in Ohio. So with all of that, you've already read the title, you already know what we're talking about. Today we are talking about the Loveland Frogmen, also known as the Loveland Frogman, or just the Loveland Frog, or the Loveland Lizard. It goes by a lot of different names. So the Loveland Frogmen have been seen in Loveland, Ohio, hence the name. And if you don't know where Loveland, Ohio is, it is in southern Ohio. It's like around Cincinnati. I think it's in like the Hamilton County or something. It's near Cincinnati. I hope there's a lot of love there. Ew. Cut the cameras. Deadass. So I want to, before I get into all of the sightings of the Loveland Frogman, I want to first kind of give you a little description on what this thing or these things look like. So the Loveland Frogman are described as bipedal frog creatures with leathery skin on their body. They are said to have webbed hands and feet, and they are said to have the head of a frog, with the top of their head being very wrinkled and leathery. So it kind of looking like leather, but if it was like wrinkled up. Some people have claimed that it has the eyes of a frog, while other people have claimed that it has glowing white eyes, or like headlights almost, like the eyes like glow like a white or a gold. And the Loveland Frogmen stand anywhere between 3 to 5 feet tall, with most people claiming that they stand about 4 feet tall, like right in the middle. This thing has become quite the tourist attraction and has inspired shirts that say, "I saw the Loveland Frogman," which you can get online. I can leave that link down below in case you want to go check it out. It's also inspired its own video game The video game is called the Frogmen, which you can only play at the store that sells the I Saw the Loveland Frogman. But it's a video game you can play. It's also inspired a race they have in Loveland called the Loveland Frog Race. Now, there are 3 things you can do. You can do a 5-mile canoe or kayak race. You can do an 8-mile bike race, or you can do a 5K run. This creature has also inspired its own bluegrass musical titled Hot Damn, It's the Loveland Frogman. And that was performed at, it's a festival that Cincinnati puts on every year. So even though a lot of people don't believe in this and they think it's just a hoax, it's kind of become its own little tourist attraction, and it brings a lot of people to Loveland, Ohio. Something else that I'm not 100% sure if it's true, but if it's not, it's a very big coincidence. There is a live-action Scooby-Doo movie that aired, I don't even know when, like 2012, I think, something around there. It's called Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the Lake Monster. And if you don't know, Scooby-Doo is based in Ohio. It's Coolsville, Ohio, which I didn't know that until just a few years ago. But in this movie, I think it aired on Cartoon Network. I don't think I said that or not yet. But the gang goes up to Lake Erie to work summer jobs at a country club, and they find that the country club is being terrorized by a frog monster. And it just has a lot of similarities to the Loveland Frogman. And in my mind, I think that this creature in Scooby-Doo was inspired by the Frogman. Now, there are a lot of differences. In the movie, there's like witchcraft and all this stuff. But the frog itself in the movie looks a lot like drawings that have been sketched up after people have seen it and things like that. And it's just a very big coincidence. In my mind, that movie is kind of based off the Loveland Frogman. But I could be wrong, and I could just be like making that up in my head. Who knows? So now you have a little bit of backstory to the... So now that you have a little bit of backstory to the Loveland Frogman or men, let's get into the sightings. So the first sighting was in May, I believe. I saw a few different accounts. Some people don't know when it was. Other people say that it was in May. The story has been told so many times and passed down through generations at this point that it's kind of become muddled. So no one is exactly sure, but I found it in I think an article or something, that some people say it was in May of 1955 at 3:30 in the morning. And a traveling salesman was on Hopewell Road. And again, that's another thing that some people say they don't know which road it was, others say it was Hopewell Road. The story is kind of jumbled and mixed and matched, and it's kind of become something of an urban legend at this point. A lot of people don't believe it because there's so many different versions of the story. I'm telling you the version that I read the most, and then I'll tell you the other version. Both of them start the same way though. A traveling salesman is driving down what some people say Hopewell Road at 3:30 in the morning on a night in 1955. Again, most people say it was May, but it's not for sure. So as he's driving, he sees three figures on the side of the road in the embankment area. And so he stops his car to see what is going on. And that is when the legend of the Frogmen start. So as he gets closer, he can see that these three figures are talking to each other. And that's when he sees that they are not people, but they are frog-like creatures standing on 2 feet conversing. So he stays there and watches these three creatures conversing and talking, not knowing what to do, what to think, what they even are, until one of them starts waving this stick-like or wand-like object around, and it puts it above its head, and when it does that, sparks start flying out of the tip of this. And the man said that it looked like a stick, but the only thing he could think of was like a wand. And sparks start flying out of it, and he bolts out of there. and starts telling people, and thus the Loveland Frogmen legend is started. But see, like I said, there are other versions of the story. So in the one that most people tell, this man is driving late at night down a road and he sees these three figures on the side of the road in this like embankment area near the river. Whereas when other people tell the story, this man is driving down a road when he sees these three figures either on top of a bridge or under a bridge that is over the Little Miami River. So no one really knows where this is at. Most people say it was on a Hopewell Road or an unknown road, but others say it was on a bridge. Either way, that was the start of the Loveland Frogmen. This eye look isn't my favorite. I'm not too impressed with this eye look. Okay, so while I put my mascara on, I threw up some pictures of the Frogman. That way you kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about. So after that sighting, that's really all it took for the Frogman to become a popular urban legend. Everyone in Loveland went looking for it. It kind of stirred up tourist activity because a lot of people were flocking to Loveland to see if they could see the Frogman. And that could be the end of it. That could be where the story ends, and it would still be a super creepy story. However, that's not where it ends at all. The next sighting of the Loveland Frogman wasn't until March 3rd, 1972. So it was nearly 17 years after the first one. So on March 3rd, 1972, at 1 o'clock in the morning, a police officer was driving on Riverside Road when he saw what he thought was a dog on the side of the road. Oh God, my mom just came home and it scared me. Turns out I get scared doing these videos even when I'm not talking about ghosts. So like I said, as he was driving past this animal, he thought it was a dog, and he thought it was like dead or something, I don't know, because it jumped up and darted in front of his cruiser. And that made him slam on the brakes. And because of the weather conditions, it was March, so it was a little icy. We were still kind of in winter. In Ohio, we're still kind of in winter in March. But because of that, he started kind of skidding, and it took him a little while to slow down and stop his car altogether. And when he did that, his headlights fell on this creature that he thought was a dog. Now, what he saw standing on the other side of the road looking back at him was far from a dog, and instead was a frog-like creature standing on two legs like a human would. And it was standing over the guard railing looking back at him, and then quickly jumped over the guard railing, ran down the embankment, and fell into the Ohio River. So this kind of sparked a new interest in the Frogmen. Now someone else is claiming that he saw one of these creatures, so it kind of made this media buzz and this popularity spark back up again. So the officer did ask to remain anonymous, and to this day he has not come out and said like, I'm the person who saw the Frogman. So no one knows who this officer is. But the officer did call it in, so other police officers arrived at the scene, and he described a creature being anywhere from 3 to 4 feet tall, 50 to 75 pounds, and resembling a frog or lizard, if it was like humongous. If it was a humongous frog or lizard, that's what it looked like. So after this officer left, they had officers there kind of surveying the scene, just seeing, you know, what was there and what they could find. And another officer was over at the guardrail looking around because that's where the creature ran and jumped over. And where the creature was standing, he found scratch marks, like something jumped over the railing and clawed it as it was jumping. You know, my last video, I got my first dislike, so that means that I am officially a YouTuber. I will be quitting my job and doing this full time now. I don't make any money off of it, but this is my job now. I'm just kidding. I'm not quitting my job. But I did get my first dislike. So after that sighting, that wasn't the end of the Frogman. The third sighting of the Frogman happened just 2 weeks after that one by another police officer. So this officer did not remain anonymous. His name is Mark Matthews, and he was driving in the same area as the first officer, and it was late at night again when he believed that, and this is where I don't know, I guess he thought he saw an animal, but he wasn't sure if it was injured or dead, but it was in the road. So he stopped his cruiser and he got out of his car to move the animal. I don't really get that. I don't know. I guess in my mind, if there's a dead animal on the road, I'm not gonna get out of my car and pick it up and move its body. I normally just kind of go around it, but I don't know, to each their own. But anyway, he said he got out of his car because he thought he saw an animal he did see an animal on the side of the road, and he thought it was either injured or it was dead, so he was going to move it. And when he did that, the thing, quote, lurched upward into a crouched position, and that freaked the officer out enough to grab his gun and shoot the thing. So after he shot the creature, it did not die. It got up and started, as he said, quote, hobbling away. And the whole time it was looking at him, you know, it would not break eye contact with him. So he saw this thing for a long time. And it went over to the guardrail and then jumped over it and slid down the embankment. And again, he called it in, they came out, they couldn't find anything. And this story was probably the most famous because people knew who it was. People knew this guy. He wasn't anonymous. It wasn't just an anonymous person telling a story. And he stuck to this story for a really long time and said, like, yes, I saw the Loveland Frogman. I saw him, like, with my own 2 eyes. And that's what I'm just like, I mean, that was a long time that he saw this thing. He got up, he was close to it, he shot it, he watched it walk away. It's a pretty slow interaction, unlike the other ones that have been pretty quick, where it's kind of got up and ran away. Now, when the officer was asked to describe this monster, or the creature that he saw, or whatever, the description fit perfectly with the one that the other officer gave just 2 weeks ago. So it is believed that they both saw the same thing. And like I said, Officer Matthews was for years afterwards saying, like, yes, I saw this thing with my own 2 eyes. It was this big frog thing. Like, it wasn't, you know, I mean, he stuck to his story until a few years ago. I'm not sure when. I think it was 2001, so not a few years ago. He did an email interview, and in this interview, he was asked about the Loveland frog monster and his experience and stuff. And this had been about 30 years after? Yeah, 30 years after the incident. So 30 years after his incident, during an interview, he was asked about the Loveland Frogman, and he said that he was tired of talking about it, and what he saw was not a monster, and it was not a beast. It was nothing out of that realm. That most likely it was probably just a large lizard that was someone's pet that either got too big for its cage or whatever it is, or they just didn't want anymore, so they released it, or it was a large frog or something like that. But that what he saw was not supernatural, it was not a monster, and he was tired of talking about it. And that is the last time that he has talked about it to the public and to the media. So I just kind of find it odd that for 30 years, he was saying, you know, yes, it was a monster, I saw a monster, it was the frog monster. And then in 2001, all of a sudden, he's tired of talking about it, and that's not what he saw, and it was just a giant lizard. Which makes me wonder, did he lie and say that he saw this thing just to get attention? And he said the reason that he shot at it was because he was trying to prove that what his friend and co-worker saw was real, because his coworker was getting met with a lot of skepticism from people, from higher ups, from the media, and when he saw it, he was trying to get proof. So I don't know, it makes me wonder if what he saw was real or if he was just kind of lying to get media attention and coverage and stuff. I don't know. So after that sighting, the Frogman kind of faded back into this urban legend. No one saw it after that, but its popularity peaked and has stayed this kind of myth in Loveland until just recently in 2016, when someone claims that he saw the Loveland Frogman. So in August of 2016, a man named Sam Jacobs and his girlfriend were out playing Pokemon Go, which, what happened to that app? That app was like super popular and everyone loved it, and now no one talks about it, no one cares about it. I never played it because I didn't have a phone. I had like my iPod and I think my iPad, but I couldn't go out and hunt for Pokemon. So I was gonna tell that story, and I'm still going to, but I'm gonna first do my lower lash line, and then I'll come back to finish off the Loveland Frogman. Okay, she's back. She just has to kind of do her lash line a little bit more. Anyway, in August of 2016 is when the Loveland Frogman was reportedly seen again by Sam Jacobs and his girlfriend when they were out playing Pokemon Go. So Sam Jacobs said that, and I have to read this because I don't know the names. They were near Madria Road and Lake Isabel. I don't know where any of that is. But he was crossing train tracks to go to the embankment of Lake Isabel when him and his girlfriend saw what they thought was just a big frog. And he thought it was weird, but they didn't really think anything of it. They were just like, oh, that's a really big frog. Which again, is just kind of weird to me. Like, I feel like this thing is 4 feet tall, so when it's crouched, that'd be big still. I'd still be like, that's a frog? I don't know. But I don't know. They didn't really find it odd until he said, quote, "Then the thing stood up and walked on its hind legs." And that's when they thought it was weird. Not when they saw a 4 foot tall frog crouched down, but when it got up and started walking. So he took a picture of it, and I will insert that now. Yep, that's the picture. He also took a video, and I couldn't figure out how to save the video onto my iPad to then upload it onto the video. So I'll just leave it linked down below so you can go see it. It's just a dark video, pretty much, and then there's like 2 big lights that look like big eyes, but like lights. And that was it. They ran out of there, they contacted the media, and then they had their 5 seconds. So the Loveland Frogman has not been seen since, no, let me put this lipstick on and then I'll come back. I can't do that. So now that I've told you the description of what this thing looks like, the stories, the history, all of that, I'm gonna tell you what I think. Do I think this thing is real, or do I think it's just a myth, a hoax? So in my humble opinion, I think it's a hoax. I don't think this is a real thing. I don't think there's a frogman walking around on the Ohio River and the lakes in Loveland. I think this is something that people make up to get media attention, because that's what will happen. You're gonna get media attention when you talk about this. It's a big thing in Loveland. So me personally, I think it's a hoax. But let me know what you think. Do you think it's a hoax, or do you think this is real? Do you think there's actually a frog monster walking around Loveland, Ohio? I'd love to know. Comment it down below. If you think it's a hoax, let me know. There's not a lot of solid proof on this thing, which is why it's hard to say like, yes, it's real. But let me know what you think down below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked this video. This is the finished look. This is it. The lipstick just pulled it all together like it always does. I hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below what you think of this frog monster. Share the video. Share the video. Share the video. Share the video. Ho. That's the new outro song. I love you guys for watching. Oh, subscribe. Duh, subscribe. I love you guys for watching. I hope you liked this. I'll be back next week to talk about another monster. But until then, I love you guys. Bye.